What's up, party people, and welcome to Stoniecast number 208 and season 6, episode 34 of Thoughts and Hunches, making money in bunches and sucker punches. It's your boy Stony coming back at you for the 208th time, and I'd like to welcome all of my fellow scumbags, hoodlums, lowlifes, criminals, shady characters, fugitives from justice, heathens, scoundrels, altar boys with unhealthy relationships with their priests, hustlers, wise guys, hooligans, foul-mouthed raging alcoholics, MLB players that have gotten into a fight with Bryce Harper. You know who you are. And thanks for watching, because you're the kind of people that keep me going. Cheats, gangsters, fienders with abusive language, degenerates. Let's face it, anybody with a massive gambling problem. If you're new to the show, congratulations. That means you probably fit into one or a few of those categories, so welcome. Because you're now one of us. One of us. One of us. Gooba gobba, one of us. We accept him, one of us. Know the reference. That's all I have to say. Hey, make sure you hit the subscribe button right down here in the lower right-hand corner. Ring that bell. That way you can get notified every time I put out a new video. To spread the word's also very easy. Just tell other fienders, degenerates, and scumbags you know just to go to YouTube and enter Thoughts and Hunches right in the search bar. That'll take you to my page so you can get dialed into everything that I give you. Also, if you're new to this channel and you don't know what's what, it's college and pro football winners, MLB playoff winners, and college basketball winners. And I just give you picks. No player props and absolutely no parlays ever. No foolproof parlays. All right, why? Because I don't like giving my money away. Because that's all you're doing when you do parlays. You're just throwing money away, right? You want to bet a parlay? Call me. I will book the parlay and gladly take your money. That's what I do, right? Now, the books, they don't expect a guy like me to deliver this many winners. I'm an outlier and I'm a disruptor. I'm like the Beastie Boys. I disrupt.
Step inside the party, disrupt the whole scene.
That's what I do. I go to the mattresses every single week in order to get you to the window with a ticket to cash. Now, before I get to the picks, as usual, I have some thoughts.
Give me all you got. Listen, give me all you got.
Attaboy, Al. Way to come through. Quick housekeeping here is today I'm going to give you picks for both Elite 8 games today with totals, as well as both tomorrow with totals. I'll also give you the college basketball crown tournament picks for Wednesday and Thursday. Those are quarterfinals. It's a new tournament that they started out in Vegas last year. This is only the second year. It's for the teams that didn't make the tournament, and they decided not to go to the NIT because they're going to this one, right? And there's also the NIT semifinals, which go on Thursday. So I'm going to give you all those today. I know it seems like a lot, but I'll break it down for you when I get to the picks. Stoniecast 209 will drop Friday, and I'll have both Final Four contests with totals and other tournaments going on as well. Stoniecast 210, which will be the season finale, will air on what I call American Easter Sunday. That's actually Palm Sunday for those of us Orthodox Christians. Why is it the season finale? Because I don't play during the spring and in the fall. The spring and in the summer. My seasons, if you're new to the show, my seasons begin with the infamous week 0 of college football in late August, and they end with the NCAA Basketball National Championship in 9 days, next Monday night. That's how long my season goes. All right? Now, off the bat, before I get to the NCAAs, I want to start with Donnie O's boy, Tiger Woods. Like his biggest fan, Donnie O, who's just all about Tiger, Tiger's got issues. Let's face it. Arrested for DUI after another car crash yesterday, and though he blew 0 in the breathalyzer, he refused to a urinalysis and appeared to be impaired, just like Donnie O after a couple beers and some brown Irish whiskey. I mean, let's face it. This is now the 4th car incident that Tiger has been involved in, that we know of. There's the 2009 famous issue with ex-wife Elin Nordegren and a golf club that led to a $110 million divorce. Then there was the disastrous, just brutal arrest in 2017 when he was asleep behind the wheel in a running car in the middle of the street at 2 a.m., though he wasn't driving, and conducted that just embarrassing sobriety test. That followed the accident a few years ago in LA when he almost died after flipping his car. Now, there's yesterday's problem. I understand all of his body issues and the amount of medication he's on for all of his ailments. But is it time to start calling him what he is? A drug addict? I mean, that's what he is, right? Issue after issue with this guy. Yet every single day, the last few weeks, there's a different report about whether or not he's going to play at Augusta in 2 weeks. Who gives a fuck? Nobody. The guy can't golf, let alone golf at Augusta, of all places. And he needs some serious help for all of his medications, legal or not, right? The guy's just off his rocker. Next up, it's time for me to tee off on Netflix. MLB opening day was Wednesday night at the Bell in the city by the Bay between the Yankees and Giants. MLB has gone to great lengths, along with the TV networks, to make it increasingly more difficult for the average viewer to watch a ball game. For starters, opening day should never be a standalone game in Japan or Mexico City or even somewhere in an MLB stadium all by itself. Opening day should be a day for baseball fans to enjoy the pageantry of all games on one day. For years, the Cincinnati Reds always were the first game to start the season with a day game at home. That's what I grew up on. I watched that, and it was always, once the Reds are playing, we're all good. Baseball season is here. Now that's all changed because of all the different networks and the MLB getting involved and forcing the fans to pay for extra apps and subscriptions to channels that we wouldn't normally have. As for Netflix, they did game one on Wednesday night, and while there weren't any buffering problems, like the famous fight a couple years ago, there were plenty of others, right? Matt Vasgersian, an Oakland native who's been in the business a long time, got the call, right, to be the lead play-by-play man, and he was fine, right? I met Matt and his family years ago back in the Bay, and I say good for him. But CC Sabathia and Hunter Pence as his colormen were not good, to put it nicely. The kicker was that atrocity named Elle Duncan. Oh my God. She has no business behind a microphone, right? She quit her job at ESPN as a SportsCenter anchor, thank God, to take the job as the on-field reporter for Netflix, and she was just terrible. She doesn't know the game, referred to it as home base, and kept kicking the telecast out to Bert Kreischer, who was involved for some reason. I have no idea why. I mean, what the hell is he? And why is he there yelling and screaming and in McCovey Cove on a freaking kayak? Netflix, they missed at bats because the commercials ran too long. They missed the MLB's first ever ABS challenge because they were doing an interview. And the AI-generated ads behind the batter caused optical illusions. Clean it up, Netflix, and get your shit together, because I can't take this all season long. And that's only one freaking game. Now, off to the NCAAs. And speaking of broadcasting, can somebody explain to me why Nate Burleson is anchoring CBS's studio coverage of the tournament? Clark Kellogg, Kenny Smith, and Charles Barkley are fine as analysts, right? Nobody seems to have any problem with them, unless you want to say Barkley and Kenny Smith for being NBA guys who don't really watch college basketball until freaking March, right? But Burleson's awful, and he really makes me miss Greg Gumbel, who was the best studio host. TBS/True TV has Adam Lefkoe, who's fine. He actually does a pretty good job. But Jalen Rose, Jamal Mashburn, and Bruce Pearl, they don't do it for me, right? I mean, despite the fact that all three are extremely accomplished when it comes to the tournament, there's something about their chemistry that doesn't jive with me there for some strange reason. I don't know. Their banter isn't as good as the CBS boys. And I'd rather have Lefkoe with Kellogg, Barkley, and Kenny, right? Burleson was a good NFL player. Good. That's it. Not great. He was fine. He's not bad as an analyst, but he's been an analyst with CBS now for a few years, right? And they've been raising his profile because that's what CBS, it's not even CBS anymore, it's Paramount because Paramount owns CBS, right? But he's had a lot of issues over the years, including being a central figure in the notorious 2005 Minnesota Love Boat scandal where drugs and orgies were taking place. Not to mention his tone-deaf questions to Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy the day after the Charlie Kirk assassination. Now, CBS wants to put him in front and center in their NCAA tournament coverage. This isn't, the guy's an ass clown who doesn't know basketball. What happened to the sports journalists like the Gumbel brothers? Sure, Lefkoe is one, and he does a good job. And for the most part, the tournament has good, very good play-by-play and color and analysts if you look around the spectrum as the games are being played. Good play-by-play, good color men, including the absolutely incomparable, nobody can touch him, no, sorry, Donnie. I understand that, Dick Vitale's your boy, but no, he's not. Dick Vitale, thank God he's not an employee for ESPN, so we don't have to listen to him. Anyway, Burleson needs to go. That's the bottom line. We got to get rid of Burleson, and everything else will be fine. Now, as for the week that was, it's not was, because the week is still going on. The week ends tomorrow. I haven't had the greatest week, but I'm still in the black. After going 5-3 in the NIT on Tuesday and Wednesday, in Thursday's NCAAs, I went 2-2 on sides and 3-1 on totals to get to 5-3 again. Last night, I did the same thing. I did Thursday with a 2-2 on sides and on 2-2 on sides and another 3-1 in totals. Another 5-3. Seems to be a theme this week, right? Which isn't kicking ass, but it is posting profits and sitting at 15-9 for the week, right? Now, those are good numbers. I'll take 15-9. That's absolutely solid. Here's the thing. I realize this is the end of the season. For some of you, a lot of you will keep gambling because you're true degenerates and you'll keep gambling all season long. But if you're going to follow my STONIECASTS and my picks and whatnot, this is it. You got this and 2 more STONIECASTS coming and the season's over. So I realize you're trying to maximize your profits and make as much money as possible. But if you're going to follow Stony tonight, follow Stony. Don't go rogue, Tree, all right? Just follow me, and I will guide you to the promised land and make you money. May not be a lot of money, but I'm going to make you money. When you go rogue and start tinkering with your phone, in-game parlays, 3 minutes into the game, my team's losing, so I'm going to bet against them now and try to tinker back. All you're doing is losing money. That's it, because you're not listening to Stony, all right? So with only 2 games today and 2 games more tomorrow, a strong finish wouldn't suck to close out my 16th straight consecutive winning week. I mean, 16 straight?
Hoo-ah!
Yeah, that's what it is, right? I don't tinker. I believe in the Novocaine philosophy. I've told you about that. Novocaine, just give it time. It always works. Now, there's no numbers to look at yet because, like I said, the week is still going on. The week ain't over. So I'm going to give you all the numbers on Stoniecast Friday night, Stoniecast 209. Now, once again, I want you to remember that all of these picks are 100% free. So for all the touts out there that are charging you for 75 to 80% winners, guaranteed, documented, just stop. All right? We all know you're full of shit, and you're charging for these picks. With me, all you got to do is just come to YouTube every week, and I'm going to drop my plays on you for free. Plus, I want you to know that all of these picks are bets that I'm actually going to make with my own personal money. So I'm not just throwing darts at a board and blindly picking random games. All right? Away we go. Episode number 34.
Just win, baby.
Attaboy, Al. Way to come through. We'll start it off tonight with the South Region Final at 6:09 Eastern on TBS at the Toyota Center in H-Town, where third-seeded Illinois is 6.5-point chalk over ninth-seeded Iowa, and the total's listed at 137.5. These two Big Ten rivals meet up for the second time this season. Illinois here is the prohibitive favorites after blowout wins of Penn and Virginia Commonwealth in the first weekend, and Houston on Thursday night. Iowa arrives as the longest shot up to now to win the whole tournament after taking out Clemson and top seed Florida last weekend and hated rival Nebraska on Thursday night. The Illini scoring is balanced. It's a blend of all five starters who average double figures. They're led by freshman point man Keaton Wagler, David Murkovich, Andrei Stojakovic, Kylan Boswell, and Tomislav Ivasic. They're all capable scorers, right? And head coach Brad Underwood likes fresh bodies on the floor on his 8-deep rotation. Iowa only has two that average in double figures, led by point man Bennett Sturtz, but Tavion Banks, Alvaro Fulgaris, and Cooper Koch, Tate Sage, they've all been playing valuable roles, and they're contributing in their 3 wins so far. Head coach Ben McCollum is a true winner. He's won everywhere he's been. After racking up 4 Division II national championships at Northwest Missouri State, he finally got the call to go to Division I last season, and in his only year in Division I last year at Drake, he led the Bulldogs to a 31-4 record and into the second round of the NCAAs. Now in his first year at Iowa, he's already pulled off a major upset by taking out Florida last weekend. But as good as his Hawkeyes are, they might be in for it tonight. Illinois beat the Hawkeyes in Iowa City back in January when both teams were ranked. And both teams were ranked, Donnie. I realize how important rankings are, but they were ranked when we played them. Stop with that. Where are they now? That's all that matters, all right? Canes fan, right? That's, that's just, okay. Back in January, right, for all the talk about Iowa's defense, right, and their walk-it-up pace on offense, it's the Illini defense that has dominated so far. Thursday night, they were just stifling in a true road game win over Houston as they controlled the glass and forced turnovers after doing the same thing to high-scoring Virginia Commonwealth last week in holding both teams to only 55 points. Scoring will be at a premium in this one, and I love Illinois to advance, but 6.5 is a big number to lay against a conference rival in a regional final. I should have jumped on it yesterday when it was at 7.5, but the Sharps pounced and it dropped to 6.5. The Illini get the win, but I'm on the Hawkeyes, catching 7 and a hook to go along with under 137.5. Moving on to the West Region Final, 8:49 Eastern tonight on TBS at the Tank in San Jose. Top-seeded Arizona is a 6.5-point favorite versus 2-seed Purdue, and the total's 153.5. Purdue lost their regular season finale to Wisconsin, but they've won 7 in a row ever since. It began by winning 4 in a row en route to the Big Ten tournament title with a win over Michigan, and continued into the NCAAs with wins over Queens University and Miami last weekend before winning a thriller on Thursday night over Texas. Top seeded Arizona have 3 blowouts under their belts so far this tournament over LIU, Brooklyn, Utah State, and Arkansas on Thursday night. Purdue's decorated Big Three seniors, Fletcher Lawyer, Trey Kaufman, Wren, and Braden Smith. They're the engines, right? They make the Boilermakers go, but CJ Cox and big man Oscar Clough have really stepped up the last 10 days. Arizona, on the other hand, they come at you in waves. And while it's freshman Braden Burries that leads the Wildcats in scoring, Koa Pete, Mo Crevis, Jaden Bradley, and Ivan Karchenkov are all capable of leading on any given night. Add in benchmen Toby Awaka and Anthony Del Orso, and you see why on Thursday, Arizona became the first team in the NCAA tournament's history to have 6 players score at least 14 points in one game. That's, wow. Now, head coach Matt Painter, in his 21st season at the helm for Purdue, is one of the most underrated coaches of his era. His teams are always relevant. Tommy Floyd is in his 6th year coaching at Arizona, and he's made them a national power again. Spent 21 seasons as one of Mark Few's assistants at Gonzaga. I mean, this is a great coaching matchup. A 1 versus 2 matchup is what we call big boy basketball this time of year. I was skeptical, but Purdue getting a 2 seed, they've earned it with an impressive run to tonight's matchup. They've won 7 straight and are playing their best basketball of the season right now. And that's very important, to be playing your best. Arizona, on the other hand, they lost 2 in a row last month at Kansas and to Texas Tech. The thing is, those were their only 2 losses of the season. They've won 12 in a row since. I mean, I really like Purdue, and I love the way that they're playing since they had found themselves on that struggle bus back a month ago.
Struggling.
Oh, Joe.
Struggling.
I knew you'd come around.
Struggling.
Thanks, Joe. Way to come through. If they were playing anybody else, I would pounce on the 6.5, but I'm not getting in front of the Arizona freight train right now. Instead, I'm getting on the train, and I'm going to run over Purdue. Going to lay them here with the Cats and ride with under 153.5. 2 more games get going tomorrow, and we'll start in the Midwest Region Final at 2:15 Eastern on CBS at the United Center in the Windy City. Top-seeded Michigan is a 7.5-point favorite versus 6-seed Tennessee, and the total is 146.5. Michigan lost the Big Ten Tournament Championship to Purdue, but they've cruised to 3 straight blowout wins in the tournament over Howard and St. Louis last weekend and Alabama last night. Tennessee shrugged off their 2nd straight humiliating loss to Vanderbilt in a week by winning 3 in a row to reach the Elite Eight again, with wins over Miami, Ohio, and Virginia last week before they took out Iowa State last night. Michigan has been at or near the top of the national rankings all season, and there's a reason for that. They had a truly remarkable preseason tournament. I just said season, reason, and preseason. That's, wow. I got to figure that one out. Their preseason tournament run was fantastic, right? They weren't just winning, but they were absolutely crushing national powers. Granted, it was 5 months ago now, right? But it is what it is, right? Adai Mara, Morez Johnson, and Big Ten Player of the Year, Yaxel Lendeborg, they formed the best front court in the nation, while despite being their weakness, Nick Barnett and Elliot Cadeau have stepped up as a formidable backcourt right now. They have 3 more athletes that deliver off the bench, making them a true beast that has no problem running up the score. Tennessee goes 9 deep behind their stars, point man Jacoby Gillespie and freshman pivot Nick Ament. Felix Okpara and JP Estrella are the size, and they offer toughness that a Rick Barnes coach team is known for. Yeah, Barnes is the guy that Vol fans hate all season until he makes another deep run in March. Then he's the greatest, right? He does it every year, And oh my God, man, he's just, and I'm getting that text message you just got. I don't even need to look, but I'm willing to guarantee it's from Bracket Guy who's telling me, how about them Vols, right? They're in the Elite Eight for the third straight year, right? But then when they lose, the first thing you're going to hear is he can't win the big one. All the same bullshit, because that's all Vol fans are, is full of shit. Now, I've been hard on the Vols all season long because I hear about them all day, every day, by their crazy fan base, including Bracket Guy. And even with their run to the Elite Eight, the fact that Vanderbilt owns them still sticks in their craws. I got to give them their flowers, though, right? As I didn't think that they had the goods to take out Iowa State last night. But the Vols blew them out. It helps that Joshua Jefferson didn't play, and Iowa State's leading scorer, Momcilovic, picked the worst time to have his worst game of the season. But the Vols are here again, like it or not, America. The issue Tennessee has heading into tomorrow isn't their fault. It's just that as good as they've been, and they're playing at an elite level right now, they're still not good enough for tomorrow. Michigan is a machine, a lot like Arizona, and I just don't have the balls to go against them in a regional final. Wolverines get the W and the cover and advance to the Final Four, as I have no problem laying the 7.5 and going with over 146.5. And finally, this week's Degenerate special is the East Region Final at 5:05 Eastern on CBS at Capital One Arena in our nation's capital, where top-seeded Duke is 5.5-point chalk over 2-seed Connecticut, and the total's listed at 134.5. Doesn't get any more classic than this. Duke and Connecticut have a long history of meeting each other in the tournament, and I see no reason why this isn't going to be another classic. There have been buzzer beaters. There have been great games. Danny Hurley, his brother, played for Duke against UConn in these games back in the day. And, it's just, I'm really looking forward to this one. Duke is back in the Elite Eight following wins over Siena and TCU last weekend and St. John's last night. Connecticut took out Furman and UCLA in the first weekend and Michigan State last night. Duke continues to win despite not being the deepest team and are led by Cameron Boozer and Isaiah Evans. Patrick Gungba and Caleb Foster, two starters who are now back in the lineup. Well, Foster's first game back last night had him sucking air, and he didn't play a lot of minutes. He still delivered when he was on the floor, and he helped not to turn the ball over in trying to guide their way through St. John's vaunted press. Now, in a physical slugfest with St. John's, Duke out-toughed the Johnnies by playing their version of bully ball. It may not be the most aesthetically pleasing brand of hoop, but when you already get every single call from the officials, it only adds to the Duke mystique. Connecticut had their issues this year, and they dodged the bullet by facing Duke instead of St. John's tomorrow because I believe St. John's has their number. I actually believe the Huskies match up better with Duke than they do against St. John's. UConn's toughness comes from head coach Danny Hurley. Their scorers have been hit or miss with Solo Ball and Silas Demery. They've had their issues all season long. But the front court of Alex Caravan, Terrace Reed Jr., and Jaden Ross provide that beef that Hurley's teams are known for. Duke's toughness is underrated until you watch them play, and they physically impose their will on their opponents. Connecticut is exactly who you think they are. Big, mean, and angry, just like their coach. Duke can't attempt their bully ball against everyone, right? But not against UConn, because the Huskies will just bully them right back, right? It's a question of the foul calls and whether the officials continue to grant Duke every single 50-50 call, shall we say. I like Duke to get the win and get back to the Final Four, but those 5.5 points are just dangling out there, begging to grab. So I'm going to roll with UConn, catching 5 on a hook to go along with under 134.5 as two of the best defenses in the nation just physically pound away on each other. That's it for the NCAAs, right? And that'll close out the week. But because STONIECAST 208 won't drop until Friday night, we still have the other tournaments going with more opportunities to cash tickets. And we'll start it on Wednesday. The College Basketball Crown Tournament tips off at the MGM Grand Arena in Las Vegas. And in game 1 at 8 Eastern on Fox Sports 1, I like Colorado catching 6 in a chunk versus Oklahoma, and give me under 164.5. Game 2's Wednesday night at 10:30 Eastern on Fox Sports 1, and I'll dance with Baylor, laying 3 versus Minnesota to go along with under 148.5. Game 3 goes Thursday night at 8 Eastern on FS1, and I'm on Stanford, minus 1.5 over West Virginia and over 135. The last game of the College Basketball Crown Tourney goes at 10:30 Eastern on FS1 Thursday. And I'll take Creighton, minus 4.5 versus Rutgers, along with under 151. Now, we also have 2 NIT semifinals on Thursday at historic Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. 7 Eastern on ESPN, I'm going to roll with Tulsa, catching 5 versus New Mexico and over 160 in a shootout. The second semifinal of the Not Invited tournament is at the Hink at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN, and I'm on Illinois State plus 6 in a chunk and over Auburn, and give me under 149.
Show me the money.
Oh, Rod Tidwell flies in from the top rope. That's it. There you have it. All 4 Elite 8 matchups, all 4 college basketball crown quarterfinals, and the NIT semifinals, giving us 18 more plays and more opportunities to crush the books and cash as many tickets as we can before the season ends. Everything will get cut in half on Friday night STONIECAST 208. So make sure to tune in for that one. And with only the season finale STONIECAST 209 dropping on your Easter Sunday. So until then, just remember that if you want to win big, you got to bet big. Good teams win, but great teams cover. You can't go broke taking a profit. Scared money don't make money. The less you bet, the more you win when you lose. That came out wrong. The less you bet, the more you lose when you win. Oh, Chris FALLICA, the bear. That's a shout out to you, and I really bungled that one. Now, for me, the action is the juice.
But for me, the action is the juice.
I'm in, Mikey. The difference between making money and winning is that anyone can win betting chalk, but you can't make money unless you take the dogs. God made life a gamble, and we're still in the game. Shout out to the late, great Joe Diffie. There's money on the streets that can't be ignored. And finally, good luck to you. Gooch, man, I miss you. I miss you more and more. And this time of year, it's just exacerbated. Love you, brother.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.